It's your girl Mocaso, and we are here for another Women in the Metaverse. And you guys see it. We're here in the Metaverse with Shiva Leela, Lo-Fi. We have Tiny in the house, also Andy, and a few others that will be popping in. And you guys know every Monday we come at 4 p.m. Pacific time to open up this space to invite women to come into the Metaverse and have mind-elevating conversations. Now, this season, we are talking all about variation, okay? And so this month, because it is Black History Month, we are talking about the variation of history. And what that even means is last Monday, we talked about the history of ourselves, right? Because knowledge of self is so important. And whenever I can preach it, I'm going to, because that's where it starts. And then for Black History, we will also explore Black women who made history, and then how they made history, so that of course we can reflect that upon our own lives, because we are living and breathing history in this moment. And when we realize that, we can take advantage of this moment. But because tomorrow is Valentine's Day, we are going to pivot the conversation a little bit and have some fun and talk about the variation of love. Now, I also thought this would be a lot of fun because, we are women, and I think that sometimes that's what women do, right? We all get together and we talk about our relationships. Now, I am honored to be amongst amazing women where we don't necessarily gossip or talk about our significant others and stuff like that, because we be having so many other amazing things to do. But, today we in our tree house, and we gonna let loose and talk about love and the variations of love, because there are variations of love, right? Love is not something that is just black and white. And so, I would love to start by just saying, did anybody share what love is to them, or what love means to them, just to even kick off the conversation before I start going off? And if not, you guys know we'll keep it rolling. Awesome. Well, I would say that to me, love is, again, a living, breathing connection. When I think about love, I remember a powerful quote that says, everything you do is out of love, and everything that you don't do is out of hate. And when I was thinking about that, it really made you think about your decision making, and how that decision making is based in these kind of emotions that we have. And I think why, like I said, because we are females, why that is so important is because that fee, just like that fee in feelings, is what makes us different than males. And my husband and I are always trying to break down words and stuff. And, him and I always talk about, how women have to kind of, understand that and use that. And I'm always like, fee comes first. It's not a male fee, it's a female. And so again, when we acknowledge these feelings and understand how they have a position and how we make decisions, again, this is how we can start using this information to help us make better decisions, and then also get better outcomes. And how this even has to do with the nitty-gritty of love, today I really want to talk about who to love and how to love. And I'm no love expert, I'm not Dr. Love or nothing like that. I'm just Mo, that's been in my fair share of relationships, been married for a few years now, and just here to speak my piece. And if anybody else wants to share, the mic is open. And for everybody watching, we would love for you to comment as well. But that's what Women in the Metaverse is all about, putting out a topic and everybody sharing. So let's dive right in. Now, again, as I was just saying, it comes down to who we love and how we love. And I say this who to love because, again, like I just was giving you guys some of those tidbits that stuck out to me in life when I was conquering how to love, right? And even what love means and how it helps make decisions. Also, one thing that I learned early on was the people that we love had such a big influence in our lives, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm a rider, okay? And if I love you, you got my loyalty. I'm there for you. If you got an issue, we got an issue. I want the best for you, like I would want the best for myself. And so for that, I learned that you have to be careful with how you give out that love also, right? Because not everybody deserves that. And then also, when you are a person that has this love to give, some people are looking, for things like that to take advantage of. So when I talk about who to love, you start meeting people, and even if it's just a friendship, right? You meet a person, and you meet that person, and you think, okay, well, this person now has to be a friend and somebody that I attach to and do X, Y, and Z with. But in actuality, there's different kind of friends too, right? That's why even at a young age, your mom or your dad probably told you, like, no, that's your associate, right? Don't even just call everybody your friend, because you got associates and you got friends. But that lesson may have went over our heads until you get older and you realize, because again, not everybody deserves those benefits that come with being your friend, right? Some people you just need a wave to and keep it pushing, because if you tell them to come along with you, then things are going to change, and now you're going to get yourself maybe in a situation that you didn't want to, or anything can happen. Because again, when you get to know people, that's how you get to learn how to even love them, right? Because that's what it's all about, is learning each other, learning how to love people, how to work with them. And I think again that just all follows under this umbrella of love, and what you're willing to do or not to do, and setting boundaries. And so just on that little tidbit, I think I heard somebody unmute. Anybody want to share on that, as to anything about when it comes to how they decide who to love and how they may categorize their relationships or anything like that?
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
I am on my earphones. Forgive me if it's a little muffly, but this is Shiva Leela, and I'll piggyback off of you. So here I wrote in the chat while you were speaking, I am completely in agreement to you. Happy early Valentine's Day. And right now, like since yesterday, I have been patting myself on the back, because when I was watching the Super Bowl, I was like, look at Rihanna. I'm all about the female woman, divine feminine energy, and I felt the energy from her. And, she's pregnant. And I'm like, wow, I'm really good, because I was like, look at her. She's so delicate. And to me, I categorize love to being something that's unconditional. And I mean that, you shouldn't have any type of judgment going into it. And sometimes we put up conditions, and then we realize that we're doing ourselves and our partner just justice with expecting certain boundaries. So just being unconditional lover is my motto.
I love that. I love that. And that's so funny. That's definitely something that we say around here as well. And so I would have to ask you, when it comes to that unconditional love, right? Because just like I was saying, that's real love, and that's a luxury, because not everybody knows what that even is. So how do you have like a way that you decipher who you even allow into that like love space? Especially, I know you had just posted like how to protect your energy. So when it comes down to that, what would you say is something that you do when it comes to how you even like decide or open yourself up to that, unconditional love, I would say?
Right. So when it comes to like individuals outside of my relationship, when I open myself up to like unconditional love, I focus on, and this is just how I am. I am like, okay, everybody's innocent until proven guilty. Like, you're innocent until proven guilty in my books. I don't care what I've heard. You would have to have done something for me to physically see, in order for that unconditional love to be altered. So this is how I enter relationships. I give people opportunities to love the way they want to love. Like the love language, people have different love languages. Like, so you gotta even know that about yourself and who you're with. Like for me, I don't make it difficult. I'm gonna be honest. I read, I look into astrology. Like I don't take shortcuts, and I actually teach people about themselves as well. And this is how we break down energies and ways that we should be loved, because everybody again has a different way that they should be loved, and it's all written. And so I go deep in the books. I get into my library. I go into astrology. I get into the birth chart, and I find how you want to be loved, literally. And then we play with it in the real world. And eventually, I'm always 100% correct because I just literally read books, and it prevents a lot. We actually use a system in my home where if we have like an issue, we put it in a jar. If you have something that is bothering you, put it in the red jar. If something you want to share that's good today, you put it in the green jar. And so there's always a way to communicate here. So the unconditional love comes from just realizing that everybody, and I'm saying everybody because not just ourselves, but everybody just requires different utility. Like everybody requires different handling. And with the female, I make it a very big thing. And everyone knows that the female is almost one of the most sensitive creatures, so give us a break. Because we do a lot, but just, like, give us a break, but don't, like, be easy on us. So, again, like, that's where the unconditional love comes in, because we know our roles.
Mm-hmm. Man, and that was deep. And I love how you gave that example on how to even communicate, right? Because that's what it comes down to. Like you said, doing that work, because everybody requires something different. And I love that you are so versed in this, because I'm over here like, I'm no love guru, but you know something over here. So this is definitely going to be a juicy conversation as we move into this love language part of the conversation. I have my little quiz here. You were probably like, girl, I don't need that quiz. I can really pull it up. And and I love that. It's so funny. My husband had a friend that was like that, where it was like he would look up everybody's birthday as soon as you would meet him, to be able to know how he's going to like operate with you. And I mean, I guess, I do something like that in a sense where it comes to like, you might, me and my husband, we were always looking up our zodiac signs and seeing how they mesh or don't mesh, and we knew each other since we were younger, so that was something that we've always done and kind of played into. And but then again, you do it your relationships, friendships, any kind of relationship. And I love how you said you don't take that shortcut, right? When you meet somebody, you have to get to know them in all of their different levels, so that you can not only express your love, but do it in their way, right? Because like you said, it's one thing for you to be able to look inward and know your love language and how you like to be loved and what you're looking for, but it's true love when you can look at somebody else and put in the work to understand them and understand how they want to be loved, and then give that so that they do receive that love in return. And I think that's why, we said love does take that work, because it does take that understanding. If you're constantly just, expecting for somebody else to do your love language, that's why I think we run into those Jada Pinkett Smith's examples where she's saying, you can't put the burden on somebody of having them make you happy, or however she had phrased it, like her and Will are married, and she's, they say, hey, I don't put that burden on that significant other, which you shouldn't, of course, cool. But as the significant other of someone, I don't think we necessarily look at that as a burden, right? Like Shiva said, it's kind of just the extra work on knowing, hey, this is somebody that I care about, and this is how they receive love, and I know this is how they would receive it. So, that's what love is, showing that you understand, that you see them, and you're willing to do that little extra step for them to be able to receive that. And so, Shiva, I would love to hear a bit more about the love language. And I know, as I told you guys, there's a quiz here. I do see we have a few other people in the space. Tiny, if you haven't made it up here to the front, there's this little portal right here that you can click on, and you can actually take the quiz. And I see Shiva did jump up because she's going to click on it probably. So as you're doing that, I will kind of give you a result of mine. Now it is 30 questions. It keeps track at the bottom. And they're very straightforward. It's like this or that, which one is more meaningful to you. And the reason why I really like this quiz is because at the end of it, it really gave a cool overview on what it was. And I like things that are brief. We're just trying to get not as deep, because again, you got to go do some more research, but just something that we could do fun here. And so I'll start with my results here. And before we even start about these results, let's talk about love language, right? Because hey, we just talked about who to love, and again, now we're talking about how to love. And I think I just gave a great summary about how, to me, love language is, putting in that extra work to speak how somebody else wants to receive that. But I would love, again, to open up that floor and hear if Shiva or Tiny wants to share what love language even means to them, or anything of that nature, or anything in general about this topic.
Yes. Yeah, I've been always wanting to share my idea on this, because I talk a lot about dance and things, but it's good when I come in the space because I can talk about, the many things that we want to talk about. Mm-hmm. But for me, love language is reading me. Like, I would love for a person to understand me and read me without me saying, hey, I like this or I like that. And that, again, comes with maturity. But anybody who knows how to read a book should be able to read people. And so when I'm with someone, I expect that, because I do so, especially with my loved ones. I make sure that I am showing up the best way that I could. And it's not an invasion of privacy, no. I always let people know, like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Because I never want people to feel uncomfortable, especially my loved ones. But it is another tether, another way that we bind, another way that I find love language for me to be seen and heard. Like, anything else, I like it, but for a person to read me, that is the ultimate love language right there.
Oh, I love that, and I feel the same, and I think because you made a good point, right? You're gonna do that, and you like when others do it also. Like, be really looking at me, understand me, and consider it and apply it, right? Read it, know it, and that's because you can do so much from there, right? Then you can be able to make any decision, and we can move forward. And so I think that's really a powerful point. So thanks for sharing that. And then, so when it comes down to these 5 love languages, there are 5 general love languages. And as I told you guys, I was not big into like the nitty gritties of this stuff before. I've always heard about love language and everybody having different ones, but I had never did my research to really learn like what they are or what mine even was, right? Kind of knew what it was or had an idea. I'm like, oh well, I like when people kind of like, I'm always doing a lot of things and considerate, so I just like when other people are considerate as well, right? So I like surprises, I like, those kind of simple things. And so that's kind of what I always chopped it up as. But there are 5 official love languages, and I thought it was really cool when I took the quiz because it really kind of showed some more about the things that you may really want, right? Like, you might know what you want, but what are your true desires? So with the 5 love languages, there are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Now, one thing that I really liked about this was that this quiz here, once you do the results, and I'll leave it in the comments so that everybody can take it, and then leave in the comments what your love languages. But the really cool thing is that they don't just tell you your first one, but they kind of order them in an order of importance kind of thing. So you answer 30 questions, and then this or that, and then it'll give you an order of importance for what they are. So for myself, I will go ahead and give you guys an example on what that looked like. So for me, the first one was words of affirmation. Okay, and so to me that was kind of surprising because I'm actually a bit like shy when it comes to people like giving me compliments and stuff like that. Like I'm one of those people that get like very blushy and like, oh my gosh. But I do like getting them. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. Especially from my husband, who's just like, oh, good job. Or I'm always showing him stuff, and not that I'm looking for affirmation, but I do love hearing it. And then also, I think when I was reading, let me read what it says about what the love language of words of affirmation means. It says, actions don't always speak louder than words. If this is your love language, unsolicited comments mean the world to you. Hearing the words, I love you, are important. Hearing the reasons behind the love sends your spirit skyward, and insults can leave you shattered and not easily forgotten. Kind, encouraging, and positive words are truly life-giving. And so I loved how they gave that, thing that you could think about, like, oh yeah, I really do love hearing those like random, like, oh, I love you, and then why, and all of those things that just make me feel like, oh wow. And then I sit there and think about it, or like I'll read it a bunch. Like I'm just one of those random people who's like, I might be hard on the outside, but I do really, really love that kind of stuff inwardly. And then also on the other end, how it said, insults can leave you feeling shattered and not easily forgotten. Again, like I said, sometimes I can go and read those same things and be like, oh, I love this. Same things with those insults. They can, keep coming over and over when you're, trying to get past things. So I thought that was really interesting for words of affirmation and how that can be looked at inwardly. And so as I kind of go through these, I'll just continue to explain which each one of them are so that we can all think about that. So then my next one was acts of service. And Tiny, I seen you clicking your portal. So I'm going to ask you at the end too if you ended up finding what your number one was as well. So my next one was acts of service. Now this is what I always thought mine was, because like I said, I'm a doer. So I love when other people do for me also. I love surprises. I love gifts. But I'm not materialistic. So I guess I understand why it's also not my second one. Although I love why, again, these explanations were amazing. So, oh wait, acts of service is not the receiving gifts one. Sorry. Let me just read it so you guys know exactly what it means, because here I go mixing them all up. Okay, acts of service. Can vacuuming the floors really be an expression of love? Absolutely. Anything you do to ease the burden of responsibilities weighing on an act of service person will speak volume. The words he or she most wants to hear is, let me do that for you. Laziness, broken commitments, and making more work for them tells the speaker of this love language that their feelings don't matter. Finding ways to serve speaks volume to the recipient of these acts. And again, I thought this one was powerful because it wasn't so much that I like other people doing stuff for me, but when they said that, because like I said, we have a whole list of things that is great for people to see you. Like even when Shiva and I were talking, it's like, somebody seeing you and being like, hey, let me help you. Let me, do this for you because I would do that for others. And I love when people see me and want to do that for me as well, because it doesn't happen often. So when it is, it's an amazing feeling. And also one thing that really stuck out in the explanation is when it said adding more work tells that person that speaks that love language that you don't care about their feelings, because again, you see that they have a lot to do and you're just adding more to that, or you're making it more stressful. And I think for me, as a person who has that as my second highest love language, again, those are the things that, start to make me, feel some type of way where it's like, oh, I'm cool without that necessarily, but don't add it to it, bruh. And that's in general, if anything, like just trying to always get through a to-do list, and people coming in and wanting to add to it and in a helpful building way, or are they trying to add to it and, use it to their advantage? And that's exactly what I was mentioning before. It also comes back to who we are giving this love to, because there are people that will see your love language and take advantage of that and speak it just to continue to get things out of you. So again, we have to be mindful and still protect that. So the next one would be receiving gifts. Now, this is the last one that I had kind of mentioned, but I love how, again, they explained it by, don't mistake this love language for materialism. The receiver of gifts thrives on the love, thoughtfulness, and effort behind the gift. If you speak this love language, the perfect gift or gesture shows that you are known, you are cared for, and you are prized above whatever was sacrificed to bring the gift to you. A missed birthday, anniversary, or hasty, thoughtless gift would be disastrous. So with the absence of everyday gestures, gifts are virtual representations of love and are treasured greatly. And I definitely will say that is true. I never like getting rid of my flowers or like anything like that. I'm such a cheesy hoarder that I will hold on to anything that I can that represents our love. But you know, and so I guess that was number 3 on mine, because again, it's not something that is highly valued, that is mainly like one of my main ways of love. But again, I can see how this is a love language, and like how I said, oh yeah, I will hoard anything, although that's not the main thing that I'm looking for. And again, why this is important, because again, these are just 5 general love languages, where of course you can break them down and, look at them in a bunch of different ways. But again, you have to understand that for yourself and for others, for your partner. So it's not just saying, okay, well, I know I'm this, so I'm just going to focus on that. No, understand all of them, how you apply all of them, and how, you can reflect those as well for others, and how they might take it if you don't. Because again, I think that's also what we're getting at here, where we may hurt people's feelings without meaning to. Right? And those kind of things can be disastrous in relationships. And I hear Miss Shiva is back. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, I filled out the quiz, and I also wanted to add, piggyback on it, not actually sometimes not acknowledging it and not acknowledging love language could be a detriment, right? Mm-hmm. Because it may seem as though we are again, ignoring our spouse or ignoring ourselves. And so that quiz I took actually helped me realize some stuff, that quality time is super important. Of course, now you know that I have all my brands starting from home. I am like a homebody, but I'm the queen of homebodies because I know how to use that. But for me, having a partner that's home, that's not always traveling, that actually is self-aware, that is aware of me, and that, understands me, that, I need that time, that quality time is important. So I think the quiz is 100% correct. Ooh. Because I am that one that needs a teddy bear next to me. Yes.
I love that. Okay, and so that was your number 1. What was that one? Physical touch, or
it was quality time.
Okay. And we actually hadn't even
quality.
We hadn't even read that one. So let me read that here for the folks who may not know what quality time is all about in here. So in the vernacular of quality time, nothing says I love you like full undivided attention. Being there for this type of person is critical, but really being there with the TV off, fork and knife down, and all chores and tasks on standby makes your significant other feel truly special and loved. Distractions, postponed dates, or the failure to listen can be especially hurtful. The love language of quality time also means sharing quality conversation and quality activities. Yes, I can definitely see that. Especially for someone who's like a performer, and like you said, you have a lot going on, and like it's like, hey, I've been doing all this and I just want to show you, and it's like, hey, just want that undivided attention to show them, and then get that reciprocation also. Because I think one of the blessings that we have is that we have strong partners in our lives, right, that will have strong backgrounds and knowledge and different expertise. So then just offering insight gives you a different, look at it. Especially, I know your husband's a Capricorn, so, and you're an Aries. So again, when we talked about the zodiac signs and even how those offer a balance to each other, that undivided time is important for you as well, to be able to have your partner's input. So I love that. And is there anything else that you wanted to add about your love language then, that you kind of learned more about with that quality time, or anything of that nature? Or maybe even your runner up, or anything in general? If not, I know Tiny.
Affirmations a word. Yeah, affirmations a word. Of course, we do that in the monthly fitness Friday. We do a word affirmation. So, you come in my house and you're going to see words and post-it notes everywhere because it's the thing. But yeah, that one too.
I love it. Okay, and I see you guys did post that in the chat here. I love that. Okay, words of affirmation. That was my top one, Shiva. If you don't know, words of affirmation was my number 1, and then acts of service was my number 2. I see Tiny, acts of service was your number 1, and I already knew that because I'm like, yeah, it's like the same thing. You got a whole bunch to do, and it's like, can you just do this one thing, and that will just make me the happiest person ever, so I could do anything else. But did you want to share about your love language, or just anything in general about variations of love, who to love, how to love, or anything that we've talked about today? I know sometimes you also have the kiddos, so can't speak, so no pressure. Oh yeah, you with the kids right now? No problem. I definitely get that. But you guys see how it goes down here in Women in the Metaverse. This has been a really great conversation. I love talking about love language. Maybe next time, Shiva, we're gonna have to pull out your book and like look up our dates and like really have some fun, girly, womanly stuff, and dive into all of the stuff that just makes us women, and feelings and females, and talk about this, but in a way that makes sense, because understanding this again and how to use that is what makes us even more powerful. And I think again, when women really capture that is where we reach our like ultimate being kind of thing, right? Like we become like superwoman when we learn how to use our feelings. And some females, you will see them using it to their advantage in some ways, and others, not. And so I think again, it just always comes down to a healthy balance. And when it comes down to love, just like we've all talked about throughout the day, use this to understand how to love others, understand how to even use this to vocalize it to your others, that this is how you like to be loved. I know this is I was doing my quiz like, hey babe, do you know the 5 love languages? Do you know which one mine is? And it was a great little cipher right there for us to talk about that, right? Where you might think that theirs, but hey, just have them do the quiz, because maybe you learn that maybe there is something that they desire a little bit more deep down, or maybe you just learn that your partner's love language is really physical touch. So if you're not physically touching them and that's their love language, then you're not speaking their language when you're trying to get your point across. So that's why you're butting heads if yours is one and theirs is theirs, but all you're focused on is yours. So again, these are those kind of things that we can really dive into to help us navigate our relationships, our friendships, our businesships, and all the things that are going to keep us sailing forward. So thank you all for watching. You guys know we'll be diving back into the variations of history. Next Monday, we'll be talking about Black women that have made history, and all of the things of that nature. So make sure you guys tune in and stay tuned. Peace.